How you doing there? Thanks for tuning in. You're watching Dirt Bike Channel. I'm your host, Kyle Brotherson, and today I'm going to go over my top 5 off-road 4-strokes, at least so far. Stick around. So over the years, I've gotten to ride and own a lot of different off-road 4-strokes, and there's a lot of great 4-stroke models out there. A lot of guys think I'm just a 2-stroke guy, and I do love 2-strokes, but 4-strokes are also a fantastic option, and for many people, it's the better option because of how they run and the fact that you can just run right up to a gas station and put pump gas into it. Maybe you need to make the bike street legal to connect some of your trails. And so 4-strokes are a very, very useful tool that we have in the industry. And we've got a number of really, really good 4-strokes. Now I've owned, 6 or 7 different 4-strokes, but I've ridden a lot more. Because every time I go out on rides, if I'm riding with somebody and he's got a KX 450 or a KTM 450S, SX or an XCF or something like this, or a Suzuki, RMZ 450 or something like this, I ride those bikes and I'll try to put time on them in different model years and different things. So I'm going to give you my top 5 so far 4-strokes that I like for off-road riding. So here we go with number 5 in my top 5 list. It's the KTM 350 XCF. Now I've had a couple of these bikes and they have really, really good power. It's a really broad power band, and you can keep, the bike in that same gear forever and rev it to 14,000 RPMs, and it just keeps pulling most of the way. And so it's got a good power band there. It's also got a very balanced feel. They feel a little heavier than the 250s, which I'll get into here later in the video, but the 350 has a great balance, a great overall feel. One gripe I have about the 350 though is that it stalls a little bit easy, and it likes to be pushed hard. So it's not a bike that wants to go slow. It's not a real great technical slow single track bike, but if you're just going out there ripping through the woods or through the desert or something like this, KTM 350 XCF might be a good fit for you. Number 4, it's the Yamaha YZ250 FX. I loved this bike. This bike has an amazing power plant to it. I think of all the 250s that I've ridden, the Yamaha has the best power plant. It just seems to pull harder, longer in all of those gears, and that's a really great thing. It has this unique quality to it where it's just got a lot of low-end torque, but it still revs out really quickly up on top. Probably the best thing though about that bike is it's got those Kayaba SS forks. Very, very good forks with tons of tuning. A lot of people know how to tune that fork and make it work really, really well, whether you're doing motocross or off-road. I mean, if you were gonna do a switch of motocross and off-road, the YZ250 FX might be your best bet. The only thing that you may have to worry about is it is a little herky-jerky in the low RPMs, like right off idle, and part of that is due to the fact that it's got a really wide ratio transmission. It's got a very low first gear, and so that wouldn't be all that great on the track, but the suspension and the balance of the bike would be good if it was a crossover bike for track and trail. But the YZ250 FX did not disappoint and is in one of my top 5 favorites because it was pretty phenomenal. Number 3 in my favorite 4-strokes is the KTM 250 XCF. I have more fun on the 250 than I do on the 350, which is why this is beating out the KTM 350. That 250 is just such a light and agile feel. It's incredible. It's just so amazing. It corners like a dream. And it's got, while I don't think it's quite as powerful as the Yamaha as far as in the power plant, I give it the edge overall because I liked the way that the bike handled overall with its overall balance and the air fork that you can get on these bikes now, I think are great. Not everyone loves the air forks, but I do. And I think just overall the package, it just tracks straight through the whoops. It's very light and nimble and agile through the single track. And it's very hard to beat. The other thing that's nice is you can just give a fistful of throttle on that bike coming out of any corner and it doesn't come out and bite you. It just makes you feel kind of superhuman. So I love the 250 XCF. Number 2 on my list, and this might surprise a lot of people. Number 2 on my list of favorite 4-strokes is the Sherco 300 SEF-R. I wish that more people would do a 300 four-stroke, because honestly, the reason why it beats out the KTM 250 XEF is because I think it has a better motor. That 300 motor feels lighter than the 350s, but it's just more torquey and has more grunt than the 250s. And so the times where I was like, oh, maybe the 250, I might be lacking a little bit for power. I might want a little bit more power here on that Sherco 300 SEF-R. That went away. And so the power plant on that thing was just, to me, it was just better. It is an awesome, awesome package. It has a very balanced feel, although it is heavy. Like if you put it on the scale, it's heavy, but it doesn't feel heavy. And that is so cool, because you're on this bike that just has this light and agile feel. It's got this really playful motor, very torquey motor, and the suspension on the bike was serviceable. The bike that I had, it was a WP open cartridge suspension. There's a lot of things you could do to make that suspension better. And honestly, that was my second favorite four-stroke so far. And now it's time for my favorite four-stroke of any four-strokes that I've ridden for off-road, and it's right here. It's the Beta 390 RR Race Edition. This sucker is incredible. And the thing that I like the most about it is the fork. Guess what? This is a Sachs closed cartridge 48mm fork, and for single track and off-road riding like I am doing, I have never seen a fork that performed better stock than this fork right here. This thing is opening my mind to what a stock fork can feel like. I absolutely love this thing. It gives me confidence like you cannot believe. The fork, I cannot say enough good things about it. The other thing that makes this my favorite is that although it's a 390, it's a big bore, it doesn't wear me out. This motor is so different than any of the other four-stroke motors that I've had. This motor isn't quite so high strung. It isn't like trying to like explode and kill you. So this bike isn't like the fastest in a drag race, but this bike can get out and motor and move. Once you get a head of steam on this thing, and like I said, it doesn't have so much power down low that it like pops you out of every corner. It's got this gradual torque buildup, and then it's so smooth and so linear across the mid-range. And then there's not a ton of horsepower and torque up on top, so it's all in the mid-range. And they have done a masterful job on this bike of making it easy to ride. And that's the thing. This is the easiest and most forgiving four-stroke, off-road four-stroke to ride that I have ever been on. And it's just been such a wonder to ride this thing. So it has a really balanced feel. It's got a little bit lower seat height, which is nice for a lot of guys that are less than 6 feet tall. So this isn't my full review of this bike. I will be doing that later, as I've got maybe 12 hours on the bike. But honestly, this is my favorite four-stroke. And it's just a joy. It's a joy to ride, and it's easy to ride. It's forgiving. It makes me want to ride more. Listen to that, guys. This four-stroke makes me want to ride it more and makes me want to ride dirt bikes more. That's how good it is. They have really done something well with this bike. So if you're in the market for a four-stroke off-road style, enduro style bike, give this a look, because this sucker will not disappoint. I hope you learned something. I hope you found this video fun and entertaining. If you want to support Dirt Bike Channel, I got links down in the description. I also have links to a lot of different parts and things that I buy and gear that I buy over on dirtbikechannel.com. Those links really, really help to support my family. You could also go over to Patreon and select a monthly tip or donation amount. That helps me out a bunch. And then every once in a while, we do dirt bike sweepstakes where we give dirt bikes away. And every time you spend $5 on my site during those promotional periods, you get entered to win a dirt bike. I will be giving away probably 2 dirt bikes later this year. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching and all of your support, and we'll see you in the next video.